So today we're gonna be measuring for a new garage door. Now in this case, there's already a garage door here, but we're gonna pretend that there's not. Now anytime you measure for a new garage door, you measure the opening, not the door itself. So we're gonna take a look at this opening here. Now there isn't a garage door here already, so this door has the weather stripping installed already. You don't wanna measure that. You wanna measure the trim behind the weather stripping. So from trim to trim is your width. From concrete floor to bottom of trim is your height. Now garage doors are always measured width by height. So we're gonna start with our width measurement. We get the tape measure right against the trim there. Pull over, we're looking at 9 feet wide. Then we take the same tape measure, we run to the concrete where the door sits on the ground is where we measure from. Sometimes you'll have thresholds that are lower than the garage floor. Wherever the door touches down is where you want to pick up this measurement from. So you measure from the concrete to the bottom edge of the trim, and in this case, we're looking at 7 feet. So we have a 9 by 7. So you measured your outside opening. Now it's time to take a look inside. There's a couple key measurements that you're gonna need to know in order to order the door with the correct track, springs, and hardware. Now remember, the actual door size is pretty easy to find out, but we also have to make this large moving wall open and close into the area which is inside this garage here. So you come inside the garage, key measurement number 1 is going to be your side room. Obviously the left side room, you're gonna wanna measure from the outside wall to the edge of either the opening or the existing track that's already here. Now in this case, there's already a door installed. If there wasn't a door installed, just measure from the wall to the outside edge of the framing. So in this case, that's about 33 inches, obviously more than enough. Then you're gonna come over to your right side room, same thing. Now in this case, you're gonna be measuring between door and door, or you would be measuring between door edge and wall. But either way, that side measurement. The next important measurement, probably the most important, is your headroom. Headroom is going to be the amount of space between the top edge of your door to the ceiling. So in this case, we have plenty of headroom because this is a very high ceiling, but a lot of times you're not gonna have this much headroom. So it's important to take note of how much headroom there is, because this door is gonna open on track, and basically it can go anywhere I want it to go. If you wanted to put a lift in here, we could actually make this door hug the ceiling to give you plenty of room in here, but without that headroom measurement, we don't know what track to use. So headroom is very important. Measure from the top of the door to the bottom edge of the ceiling. And the next measurement is what we call back room. Now back room is going to be the measurement from the front wall to any obstruction that might be on the ceiling. If your garage is under your house, you might have heating. You might have like heating and cooling ducts. You might have plumbing pipes. You might have carrying beams. There's a lot of things that could be on the ceiling that would prevent the door from opening into the garage. So your back room is gonna be the front edge wall to any obstruction that is going to be in this garage. In this particular garage, you see a carrying beam on the ceiling here. This carrying beam is obviously high enough up, again, because of the amount of headroom we have in this garage. But if that beam was lower, we might have a hard time fitting the track and motor in front of it. So again, that's why back room is very important. If you have more than one door, make sure you measure both of them. We all want to assume that we have 2 doors side by side, so they're the same size. But I have made that assumption, and it's not a mistake I ever want to make again. So make sure you just verify that both doors are the same size. Those 4 measurements would also be provided on a cheat sheet that I would give you, where you could fill those out, and then we could order the right track, springs, and hardware for your garage door.